No, let me just check. Okay. Sorry.
Boom. There were a couple talking points.
You can turn and read them there as well. Just in there. I'm recording by slide.
We've gained a subscriber in this short span.
Is it working?
Yeah. Yeah, we're live.
Are we? I pull it up right now.
Let me know if the slides are working. I'm just sharing it now.
Yeah, we're live.
Alright, perfect. Then Kanji, you can cook, bro.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll be able to hear us though. Can you tell?
Gained a subscriber.
Yeah, I think so. I think you can hear us.
Alright. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna go. I'm just setting it up on my thing. Okay. Alright, let's get it.
Perfect then.
Pulling up the stream right now so I can just follow along on everything there. A little bit of a weird setup, but we're good today. Okay. Alright. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the FPL Roundtable podcast. I'm your host, Tanji FPL, and I'm joined by the co-hosts FPL K-Man and FPL Stark. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Sweet.
How are you?
Feeling, boys. I mean, I know Stark must be vibing out there, bro. Chelsea are riding a high, man. How do you feel about that?
I'm very Phil.
K-Man, how are you feeling as well? You guys had a big win against Manchester City as well, huh?
Yeah, bro. I'm actually ecstatic, bro. Like I celebrate like we won a title. I'll be honest. I know it's a bit shameless, but and it's crazy to think because although we beat City, we didn't move a single inch. We're still 13th. That's it's tough, but there's a lot of teams that are, I guess, on 20 points. So listen, still for me, we got to take the small victories. We're in a rebuild. We're in a process, and we're gonna trust the process. But Amaram Ball did cook. We did bury Pep, and we're gonna be known for the team that basically ended Pep's reign. So I'm glad that will be the narrative. And ultimately, we're the biggest club in the world, and that just proves that furthermore. So I'm really happy. So yeah.
Love that, yeah. Yo, but it's interesting, like we're getting to the point in the season where it's time to actually start looking at the table. Like earlier on, like you hadn't played all the fixtures. We're getting towards game week 18, game week 19, like the table is starting to settle in. Did you guys have any thoughts on like some teams that are just too high or too low on the league table, or do you guys think everything's supposed to be where they are right now?
I don't know. There's always going to be surprises. Like Nottingham Forest. You know they're going to play with pride and respect. But did you expect them to be in the top four? No. Did we expect Man City? Did we expect Man City to? Man City are still fifth, and if they won that game, they would have gone ahead of Arsenal, who are in the title race. But Arsenal are fifth. City are fifth. Bournemouth are sixth. Fulham are eighth. Like, you know what's crazy? What I think the crazy stat. Tottenham have scored one less goal than Chelsea, and they've conceded the same amount, yet they're 10th and Chelsea are 2nd.
Oh my God. That's crazy. How does that make any sense? That must mean that they're like destroying poor teams, like absolutely destroying them, right?
What is the stat? They've lost every game by one goal, and they've won every game by like 4 goals or something. I don't know. Something weird.
Wow. That's insane.
Or they've scored 4 goals in every game they've won or something. I don't know. I saw some weird stat. I don't know if that's true or not. Though. Probably not.
Interesting. I feel like going in like back into the FPL like landscape, like how did you guys do from an FPL perspective last week?
Good, man. But we'll get to that in the end. Do you know what I mean? On our team review.
Yeah, fair. I mean, it's just always nice to like just sort of touch upon it. Like I had like a good green arrow. It's like my second green arrow in the first. It's my second consecutive green arrow all season. So it's just nice to have back to back. So I'm feeling some sort of positivity after so much negativity all season. So I'm feeling really good. Just wanted to share some positivity. Hopefully, you guys get some good vibes too.
I think we all had a green arrow. It was a really
Hundo
good week
P.
for us.
100%. So one of the main talking points I think to discuss is going to be the budget enabler midfielders. And we have put together a graphic. K-Man is a wizard with these types of things. And so we're looking at the best budget midfielders that we could keep in our starting 11 in order to enable other premium assets in other parts of the pitch. Whether that's a Salah, Saka, a Palmer, a Trent, a Gabriel, an Isak, a Jackson, we're going to need one of these guys in order to get some additional premiums in our squad. I just wanted to hear, like, what are your guys' initial thoughts on these types of picks?
Interesting. It's an interesting topic of conversation. I think because so many budget enablers have suddenly emerged on the scene. Obviously they were there, but they're getting returns consistently. Like Ahmad, Enzo, Rogers, a bit on the back burner, but these are assets you can rotate. So I think the new meta is going to be Palmer, Salah, Saka, and then 2 budget midfielders. And me personally, I think that I would rather invest money into the 4th midfield spot and have my 8th attacker as the 5th mid, like an Enzo, or one of Ahmad, one of Rogers, one of Enzo, and just rotate them with like a JP. But what about you guys? Are you guys moving to the 2 budget midfield strategy?
Tempting, bro. It's really tempting. For example, I'm already on Enzo, and Ahmad just continues to return. Like that's his 11th return, I think. He hasn't played that much this season. I think versus City had 2 returns, but I'm a bit less optimistic on Ahmad, considering the fact that we might be prioritizing Europe because we're in the Europa League, and we might maybe there will be some rotation with Ahmad. But considering the fact that now Rashford has basically said he's done with United, he's going to be leaving, and then that's one less competition for him. And you also have Mount injured, so there's 2 key players out that could potentially, get some minutes over him. So that does really increase his X minutes. Another thing I have issue with Ahmad is that I don't know if he's a great finisher. I know he had a really good goal for City, but I'm not sure if I've seen him finish at a very high level. But listen, he's been returning. If he's not scoring, he's getting assists. I'm a bit less optimistic. I know he's got the returns. I want to wait and see for him at least one more week before I jump on it. But I do think, listen, it's a very good entry point this week if we're playing Bournemouth at home. So it's a good fixture. And I also think Enzo, who I think, in my opinion, is the best budget enabler, like 5 million, in both in terms of price as well as his output. He's on set pieces. He's the only budget mid that's on set pieces. Your Rogers, Sar, Ahmad, Ayobi, Semenyo, none of them is on set piece. And that's another element of avenue of points that you could get from Enzo. And another advantage that Enzo has over all of these assets, he does play for the better team in terms of better system. They're more gelling and whatnot. And I also think he has the better X minutes compared to other assets. That might be a bit more arguable, but so yeah, I feel like there's a lot of tick box being ticked for Enzo over the other assets. So I'm favoring him. That's why I have him now. But I think Ahmad is a close second, and obviously Rogers is also there.
Yeah. I think like the question to really ask yourself is like, what is the structure you're trying to build towards, right? Because for me, I'm looking at Salah, Saka, Palmer, and I've tried to go against Salah for a couple weeks, and it really hasn't worked out. Like that's why my rank has been so poor. I think you could have gone against Bukayo Saka potentially. As an example, I've seen like Let's Talk FPL go against him. I've seen Sir Top from FPL Optimize go against them and go with triple Arsenal defense. Even Late Riser is doing that now as well. So that could be a potential strategy. And if you look at the chart, I think it was like 3 or 4 slides down the road. It was like that chart from Under the Radar, the expected goal involvement chart. If you see, like Saka's is actually really small relative to where Salah and Palmer are. So like those 2 for me feel like the most important players. Like I think you have to try to get to those 2. Like they're sort of undisputable. I was sort of looking at the Salah spot to sort of go against him because of the price point, but it's wrong. Like Salah is just too good of a player. Liverpool are too good of a team. They rely on him so much. It's like it's hard to go against him and Palmer, but Saka's the one. So once you sort of decide on the premiums, I'm looking at it like I want Salah, Saka, and Palmer. I like Saka's price point, and I do believe in Arsenal to turn things around. I know that if you look at the next slide, I think we had like a Arsenal open play versus set piece XG slide. Like we discussed this on the last pod, and the point still stands. Like they're not creating that much from open play. They're very reliant on those set pieces, but Saka does get 50% of the corners, and he's 100% of the penalties. So it's like he's still a good pick in himself. So I kind of look at it where I'm like, Salah, Saka, Palmer, I don't want to go against that. And for me, in the striker spot, I don't want to go against Isak either, because he's, especially given the Callum Wilson injury, he's like 90 minutes on penalties. So I kind of look at it like, the question is, do you put Jackson alongside like an Isak, or do you go for like Jackson plus Isak or Jackson or Isak? What do you guys think of that question?
Well, this is the thing, and this is why I think a lot of people are going to move to the two budget midfielders and rotate them for the fourth spot and play a 3-4-3 week in week out. So, like, what does it enable? Arguably, a lot of people want to bring Trent in. So if you've got Ahmad and Enzo, for example, you're going to get Trent, and then like you just discussed, you're probably going to have Jackson and Isak, and maybe even a Chris Wood, or Chris Wood, Isak, and JP. Like, the question is, you've got to go against someone. Like, I feel like there's a couple of assets we have to choose to go against. It's either Isak, Trent, or Jackson. Like, you can't own them all. Or even in Boomer, you go against them. Like, you have to pick your battle. And where I'm at right now, I think I'm gonna go against Trent just for the short term until that double game week comes up, because I feel like I want to be there for the City fixtures. I think they're too good to turn down, even though they're in a terrible position right now. Just like when you look at they concede one goal and they just collapse week in, week out. Liverpool, my issue is Trent, fantastic at going forwards, but I feel like Konate enables and enhances his appeal because he covers for him and saves his bacon quite a lot defensively. So I feel like with Konate out, I feel like Trent's playing a bit more reserved and cautious because he doesn't have Konate to back him up. But obviously, a 15-pointer from Trent, and everyone's going to be scrambling to get him in. I think Isak's a better pick than Jackson. On pens, 90 minutes. Spread your bets. You've already got Palmer. Pick another talisman from another team. It's just no-brainer for me. That's why I've got him instead of Jackson.
Fair enough. Before I move to the Cunha replacement and slash the best forwards, I wanted to ask you guys on the budget mid. If you're buying this week, would you prioritize Ahmad or Enzo? Would you have both?
Right, yeah. So this is like a whole like circular-ish topic to get there. So like once you put like Salah, Saka, Palmer in there, and then you lock in like an Isak, and let's say you lock in like you have to decide whether you want to play a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3, basically, right? And to me, I'm thinking that the drop off between Jackson and Wood isn't that big. And so I'm happy to like go against Jackson because we also saw like a few weeks ago he was completely benched. So he's not nailed to start every game. So I'm like happy to go against Jackson in that sense. And to me, I just think João Pedro is one of the best picks in the game. I know if we go to the heat map, I think we have it in a yes. What are you guys' thoughts on JP? Because like to me, it's like Salah, Saka, Palmer. Those three are just they're undeniably good picks. Like Saka is the one, okay, there's more question marks over, and he's more the most of those three on fraud watch. But I still think those three picks are undeniable. One of Isak or Jackson, that's the fourth one. And then I put João Pedro as like the best enabler in the game. Do you guys agree with that or no?
Well, that depends on when you bought him, right? If you bought him recently, I don't think so. I mean, you've got other assets that are like Enzo, for example, 5 million. I think he's a bit better than João Pedro as an enabler right now in terms of value for asset, or value for money or whatnot. In terms of João
Exactly. So
Pedro, go on.
that's like the big question though, right? Because like none of those guys that we're gonna talk about, like Iwobi, like Ahmad, Enzo, none of these guys have penalties. And JP hasn't taken a single pen yet. Like we saw what happened to Clivert. The guy had done nothing in the game, picks up 3 penalties in a game, and he got like what 20 points or 15 points just randomly. That can't happen to one of the other guys, right? That's what makes JP so special, right? And JP's in a similar category with Wood and Cunha, where like as soon as they get a return, they get 2 or 3 bonus, right? So it's like JP's positioning right now isn't that great, but it's like the fact that he's on pens and he's 5.5. That's why I feel like I really like him, but I'm just I'm
I
just
think we
annoyed
need
and I see all these cheap mids getting all the points, right?
I think we need to just dive a bit deeper into why maybe JP is not returning, and I think the team in general, I think they're just struggling a bit. Like, if look at his heat map, he's dropping very deep to get on the ball. Without this heat map, if you watch the game, you'd know this is the case anyway from watching him. Like, this guy's playing CDM at times, getting deep. His attitude's very negative. Like, he's throwing his hands up and he's not getting 1-2s. Brighton just aren't clicking right now. Do I think they're going to turn it around? Yeah. Have you seen the talent they've got? Of course they're going to turn it around. The moment they do, all of a sudden JP becomes the next big thing on the block again. You got him at 5.5. Bench him. He rotates very well. He's on pens. They're a great team when they are clicking. Like, you can't they're still a top 10 team, I'd say, pushing for, Europa League. And I think they might miss Welbeck,
So, like, that's a great point. So basically, the coach has been playing João Pedro in the 9 position, but he's not a real 9. Like, he's actually more of like a 10 because he likes to like drop off the front line. If you look at his heat map, right, it kind of looks like he's playing left back in a way.
That
The
is not a
positioning
heat
isn't that
map.
great.
That is not a heat map of a striker, bro. That's more so maybe either a number 10 or a 9, maybe even like even number 10. Like he's not even getting in the box at all. Like you
That's an
don't
Yeah,
expect
Enzo
him
he's like a
to.
Fernandez.
left mid.
That's an
Yeah,
Enzo Fernandez heat map, bro.
exactly. Yeah, you don't expect a number 9 to not be in the box at all. Like he's all over red is outside the box. That's really interesting to me. But look, João Pedro, as Stark said, if they pick up form and considering how attacking Brighton are and they do have ridiculous talent, he's a good asset. However, we have seen 3 game weeks in a row now where we have to start questioning: has he dropped off? Has Brighton dropped off? And do we start considering to bench him because he blacklisted the likes of Palace, Leicester, and I think it was Southampton. So these are the fixtures that we bought him for, and if he's not returning those, then we need to start considering maybe we bench him because he's an enabler. However, right now it's not the entry point to buy him because he has gone up to 5.9 now. So in terms of best enabler currently, those who are shopping, João Pedro is not. You got your Ahmad and you got your Enzos and Rogers and other assets. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, basically, based on that, right? I look at it where it's like the striker market. There's only maybe 5 or 6 good picks. Like you have Isak, Jackson, Cunha, Wood, and then João Pedro. Like, are there any other options you've really considered?
Oh, Wist is
What?
always an option. Wist is always
Yeah,
an
Oh
option.
yeah,
Watkins, like the K-Man said, Wissa when the fixtures are good at home. He's a menace at home. Evan Nilsson, I think
mm,
Evan Nilsson, when the fixtures are good, you could take a punt on him.
yeah,
Raul Jimenez is an interesting one, and he's the new, enabler on the block for strikers. I think some people will definitely go there because of the fixtures. I just think,
yeah. I
I
think
think
we
that
have like a fixture slide, right?
Yeah, we got it
Yeah,
here.
I think the fixtures might blindside managers. Thought like it's covering up the cracks for him as an asset. Like, he's not nailed. He gets subbed before 70 minutes. The person who comes on for him is scoring when he comes on. Like, he gets benched in this busy period. I don't know, man. Like, Fulham, they're a great team right now. They're consistent, but they don't. This season, they haven't blown teams out of the water so far. But I don't know. I don't think I'm going to go there, man. I'd rather have JP than Raul.
what do you think,
Yeah.
hey man? Because you were
I
on
think
Raul earlier, right?
yeah, I was really high on him to be fair. But when I started watch closely Fulham, I think they don't score that many goals. Like they haven't scored over 3 or 4 goals this season in any given game. Now, if they're not scoring 3, 4 goals versus the likes of I don't know Leicester's and obviously Ipswich and whatnot, then the goal distribution in that team is also quite spread out. Like you've got guys like Wilson coming off the bench getting 2, 3 goals. You've got Smith Rowe getting goal here and there. You've got Ayobi, you got Nelson, all these guys, Adama, like their goals are quite spread out. However, I do think if there is any asset to own from that team and basically for value for money, I do think Raul Jimenez is the guy. But to expect him to get return every week, I don't think that would be optimistic. I think that's too optimistic considering his price and considering his minutes risk. But other than that, I don't recommend buying any attackers from that team right now. If there is anyone I recommend is a defender in Robinson who is insane right now. Like the performance he's having. For those who have 8 Nori, it's basically a like very easy switch to Robinson. Great entry point, but obviously Muniz is also on the cards from game week 19. What do you guys think of maybe instead of an attacker from Fulham, you target a defender like Robinson?
Yeah, I've already got him.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. Wait, can you guys still hear me? Sorry about
Yeah, I
that.
can hear you.
Yeah,
Okay,
even the
yeah.
Warrior.
That was a yeah. I think Iwobi's one. Like if we go back to the original question, which was like the midfielder enabler, he's actually at 80 FPL points. So he's another really good enabler pick. Like some of these like enabler picks don't have that many points, but Iwobi really stands out. Like 80 points is incredible. Amad Diallo has picked up 9 attacking returns this season. He's the 25th highest scoring forward and mid. Like
But
even
he's also
Enzo himself, he's
5.7
picking up
million
these
though.
incredible positions.
But he's
Hmm?
also the most expensive out of all three of them. Like Rogers, Ahmad, and Enzo. He's also the most expensive out of all of them. He's 5.7.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that's the thing.
if he can be consistent with what he's done, so if he replicates what he's done so far in these next games, he's worth 5.7 million. He's got 80 points.
No, I hear
That's
you. I
only
hear
what
you.
Yeah.
that's
No,
only what 19 or so points off in Boomer, who's on pens for
bro.
Brentford.
I know we didn't put Harry Wilson in there, but he did start the last two games, didn't he? From what I recall, I remember Harry Wilson started the last two games, and he looks so ruthless, man. That guy loves to go attacking forward. Like when he's attacking, it's like uh, Raul Jimenez takes a back seat and he lets him make a run. It's really interesting. I'm not sure if he's nailed, because if he's nailed, I don't know if that's worth a punt.
Mhm.
That's the thing.
So
I
so
think. Sorry, I was going to say this is another like tick in the double budget midfielder like checklist because there's so many to pivot between when the fixtures are good and the fixtures change throughout the season. So like one week you could, for one period right now you could have Enzo Ahmad and then you could have Ismaili Sarr and Iwobi, then in the next period, then you could have Rogers. Like there's so many to choose from. They're all emerging. So it's like, and with the AM chip coming up, everyone wants to save money, depending on who you want to go. Like if you want to target premium managers, it's probably the best strategy to have two cheap budget midfielders. What do you think?
I
exactly.
agree. I agree,
That's kind
but
of
I
the
think I think if you have one cheap striker and one budget midfielder, you can still release that fund.
exactly. So like I think Cayman's position is a little bit different because his squad value, like Cayman jumped. Like the reason why Cayman and Stark, you guys may not exactly connect with the audience at times, is because you guys have started so well. So you've jumped on to a lot of good picks early, so your squad value is so high, right? For example, somebody like Cayman can afford to put a Chris Wood in a spot where because the squad value is like almost 105, and some of us at like 102 or 103 can only put like a Raul Jimenez in that spot, right? So
Yeah.
like that's kind of the advantage that like if you went early, for example, if you got Salah at like 12.5, or if you got like Palmer, like at in game with one, you're able to get a little bit more money elsewhere, right? So that's the advantage that you guys have. So I think in your guys' positions, it's like if you've locked onto certain players, there's no reason to sell them. For example, like if you were on Chris Wood early on, there's no reason for you to sell him. If anything, it was nice if you were able to hold him. And I think he's one of the best jump off points from Cunha, right? Based on the suspension. So I'm kind of thinking about it where it's like I don't really like many of the budget forwards at all. Like I don't want to be playing JP and Raul on a weekly basis. I know both of them have some good-ish fixtures coming up, but for me, that's more of like a rotation where I'd only play two of those options. Like I'd play one of those two options. So I'm thinking about it in my mind where it's like if I go for two budget strikers, I need five in midfield, but I don't think I can afford to do that because I also have Trent. So this is kind of the way that I'm thinking, where I'm like, I think in order to fund Trent, which is like my number one priority, I'm putting Salah and Trent in my team, given how good Liverpool's fixtures are. I think it's important that we just go budget in midfield. But I think you just straight up have two budget enablers that are 5.0, 5.5, two of those price ranges. So it allows you to get to a Gabriel plus Trent plus Isak plus Saka, Palmer, Salah. Like that's kind of the way I'm sort of building my team. So I've already done it. Like I've already brought Enzo in
There's a
last week.
downside
I
to that
did.
though, Kanji. There's a downside to that because essentially you're playing three budget players every week, aren't you? Because you're gonna play maybe a
Yeah,
good
sorry.
budget. One of the budget players will be every week playing in midfield, and one of the budget will be playing in strikers. And I'm sure you're gonna have another budget defender. So you're playing three budget assets
Yeah.
every week. I don't know if
So
obviously that's
that's
depending on
yeah.
squad value. But whereas
Hmm.
I'm in the situation that I'm in, I'm playing two budget options every week pretty much. So I would have the structure I'm trying to get to. Obviously, Jao Pedro, I got it at very cheap. He will be just sitting there, and I have a budget midfielder. Now, if I go to a budget second budget midfielder, then I'm playing three budget assets every week in my team. So I have Hall. I'll be playing Hall. I'll be playing either Enzo or Ahmad every week, or I'll be as well as a Jao Pedro. And I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of having
Yeah.
that much budget options when you could obviously? have the likes of Mbemo or Bruno Fernandes or someone else like that.
It's the way you look at it, right? So like people will say, don't buy an asset because they're cheap, and the same token, like don't neglect an asset because they're cheap. Like if Diallo starts as a 10 for Man United, I think the value he offers is good because he is playing for let's be honest, Man United should be pushing for top 6. That's what they should be pushing for. When they play the lower teams, they have the capability to score 4 goals. And if he's playing 10 in that attack, he's such good value for money. It's insane. But there's just so many question marks around him.
But I think some of the questions were answered to recently stock, if we're being honest about his, because recently the most obvious one was, okay, there's so much rotation, Mount can play there, Rashford, Garnacho, etc., right? There's a lot of guys that have been ticked off the bracket now. Mount is with a hamstring injury. You got Rashford, who's once out of the club. That's 2 competition out. Anthony is definitely not getting starts over Ahmad. Like, fans will go crazy. Like, Anthony's not a threat to Ahmad. And then you go, sorry, and then obviously.
Are you sure about that?
Anthony
does really good 360 spins, bro. That's essential.
No. We're gonna have riots in Manchester, bro. Come on, that's not gonna happen. Now, I think right now, I'll be honest with you. This week, if I was buying, I would probably buy Ahmad over Enzo. Now, in my opinion, though, I still believe Enzo is a better asset considering the fact that he's more a roots to point, and I think that he's playing for a more functioning team. Whereas we're still a team that's trying to find our rhythm and find our basically the system. We're still trying to learn. So there's a lot of experiments been done on our team, but that doesn't mean that Ahmad could still not shine because he clearly seems like our best player right now, and that's crazy to get a best player from Manchester United for 5.2 million, almost nothing. It's like almost no risk. Like there's almost like no risk to getting Ahmad. It's crazy as it sounds. So would you guys say right now, currently, the best 2 budget enablers are Ahmad and Enzo, or would you say Rodgers? Most people are looking at that because it's so tempting. Most people are looking at 2 budget midfielders, including myself.
I've never considered Rodgers a good pick personally. I've always preferred Semenyo over him. I know Semenyo is like he's like the guy that's like he's like old news, you know? It's like he hasn't returned.
Come on,
He's picked up no points.
Kanji, 11 weeks, 1 return.
And the interesting thing with Semenyo is that like he has no set pieces, right? No corners, no penalties. Like you always need it from open play with Antoine. That's the problem, right? You have something like Enzo. It's like okay, they have a corner. It's like okay, Enzo just comes up out of nowhere. Even if he's playing super deep, he can still get a chance for an assist there, right? You don't get that with the likes of Semenyo, right? And then there's another enabler not even on the list, like McNeil. Like there are really good midfield enabler picks. That's why I really like that structure of like going for an Isak, going for like a Jackson or like a Chris Wood in that second striker spot, and then going to a JP and then allowing 2 of these budget mids to rotate. And my favorite one is, if I'm honest, it's going to be Enzo just because I know the minutes are 100% guaranteed, but Ahmad has the highest ceiling. Like the way that he scored that goal against Man City, and I hate to hype up a goal that happened in a big game, but bro, it happened out of nowhere. Like just a Martinez through ball, and like he rounds it and then he tucks it in. And I'm like, wow. And like this wasn't the first time he's done it, bro. The guy has 9 returns. He only started 9 games.
I have
Like
one question.
that's
I
crazy.
just haven't seen him finish that often, bro. And we saw how poor he had. If he had one chance, right, and he completely missed the target from basically 6 yards out. So I have question mark on his finishing. However, that does not mean he's a bad asset, and he's still a big assist threat. Because right now he seems to be a number 1 creator. Bruno Fernandes do a bit more doing box to box work. He's not, because what thing he said, Amram said is really interesting. He said he wants Bruno to stop doing more of Hollywood passes, and that was one of my biggest criticism of Bruno. And recently, I have not been seeing that under Amram, anyways. So if that reduces, that means we're more effective with our transition. So we have Ahmad creating more, like say, more high XG chances or high XA chances, right? We saw the ball that he gave to Dallo. Dallo had a shit touch. He completely fumbled that chance, right? But that ball from Ahmad from one end to the other end was very difficult to get correct. So when Ahmad is taking more of the creative responsibility and he's a midfielder and he gets a extra point for goals and assists as well as he gets a clean sheet point, it's almost a no-brainer. But something in me, I don't know what it is, just pushing me back from going there. Maybe because I'm a bit pessimistic and I've had a bad history with my club and picking assets from there. But I think for those who are looking this week, Ahmad is definitely the standout option, and then followed by
It's just
Enzo.
the risk reward. It's the risk reward of him being like 5.1 or 5.2 now. Like like you don't need much. Like
Yeah.
there are going to be chances where he's going to be benched. Like there's a chance menu prioritizes Europa League to try to win a trophy, or the FA Cup is where they're going to put out their best 11 on Thursday. Like and maybe they'll play more of like a second string in the Prem. Who knows? Like what Man United's priorities are at this point in the season. But what I do know is Ahmad is a very good quality player, and I'm a Liverpool fan. So it's weird. Buying a Man United player always feels a little bit weird, but it just feels like maybe it's too good to be true. But with the fixtures of Bournemouth coming up and Wolves, like bro, he could pick up a goal in both games. And Bournemouth is the type of match where if you can get him behind Bournemouth's defense, you're going to be able to score a lot of goals. So I just think it's a good entry point for Ahmad, honestly. So
I
that's why
think
I think if I was buying now, I'd buy him. But I think longer term, I do prefer Enzo.
I
Yeah.
think this is what puts me off Jackson as well, is because a lot of managers are gonna probably own Enzo and Palmer. So why do you own Jackson as well? Like triple up is just overkill. Like especially if you don't have Isak, who's literally a talisman for another team. But I do believe in hedging your bets in FPL and trying to get one player from every team. So like if you own Palmer and Jackson and you're choosing between Ahmad and Enzo, I just think it makes sense to go Ahmad because you're getting a piece of United attack when you've already got Chelsea attack covered. So I think he's a great option because not many people want to have United assets, but like he's just so optimal because if it doesn't pay off, it's only 5.2 million. You know what I mean? You're not losing out on anything. You could just bench him.
No, agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah. I think we're sort of arriving towards a very similar conclusion, which is like Ahmad is worth the risk reward ratio of what you're getting at 5.0, basically.
Yeah.
So,
The fixtures are
like
there,
whether
man.
you
The
go
fixtures are
now,
there. Yeah.
yeah. What do you think, Cayman?
No, I'm saying the fixtures are there for Ahmad. Like the only difficult fixture I could see there is obviously Liverpool away and maybe Newcastle, but the rest are basically quite attacking. Like you could attack these fixtures for sure. Um, as I said, maybe I'll wait 1 more week. I gotta be convinced on it. I'm really need to be sold. I'll eat another price rise. It is what it is. Like he's not gonna go to 5.4. Like even then, I could afford him, so I could eat another price rise. But at least I want to be sure because right now transfers are precious. I want to see how he does against Bournemouth, and then I'll probably make a decision. But for those
What
who
do
are
you
buying
think?
this week, gone.
No, go on, finish.
So yeah, I think those who are buying this week, I think Ahmad is more appealing than probably. But Enzo is just as well a good
Yeah.
pick.
Who what do you think of Ismaili Sarr? Because their fixtures really open up and he's like literally playing 90 minutes. Their attack looks quite good. That's not the first double digit haul he's had. I know he's not the most consistent for constant returns, but if he blanks twice and then gets these mega hauls every like third game, he's he's on the radar for sure for some managers, right? Because Eze, he's sharing set pieces now. He's not even on pens. He's not even getting 90 minutes. And Eze's what, a whole million more expensive than him?
I
Hmm.
agree, but the entry point is now that the entry point he's got Arsenal at home this week, and then it's Bournemouth away, which is a pretty good defense at home. The only, I guess, entry point is in 19 when they play Southampton at home, uh, and then Chelsea at home as well because Chelsea are quite poor defensively. I could see those two being a good
Hmm.
fixture for him, and then followed by Leicester and West Ham. So the entry point is in 2 weeks, personally for me.
Quick
But in
question in the
terms of,
chat.
sorry, go on.
Quick question in the chat. Who do you like most from wildcard 19 onwards? I think that's among for like budget midfielders. I think which budget
Hmm.
mid like the most from wildcard. If you was on the wildcard 19 onwards, who would you go for?
I
Rodgers
mean,
looks
I'd
like the
be on
fixtures.
Ahmad for sure. I'd be on Ahmad 100%, bro. Just because you get the highest upside, and then I'd pick
I think
the
it's Rodgers, bro.
second budget midfielder, the one that like you prefer, because it's not much to really split them. Maybe it's like somebody that works well with Ahmad's fixtures in particular, but like we don't even know if Ahmad's going to be starting in those easy fixtures. Like we really don't know. But it's like
No, no,
as long as you
yeah,
have
yeah,
another
yeah.
midfielder you trust
But
to
if you
start every
can't play
game.
him for 19 and 20, then if you play him, I mean, you can play him, but it's a low ceiling, isn't it? Playing Ahmad versus Newcastle and Liverpool. I
Yeah, so
think
you
it's
want to bench him
Rodgers.
in those weeks.
Yeah, but you don't pick. I mean, I guess I can pick and bench him. I think Rodgers is the one, bro. Like he's got Brighton, Leicester, Everton. I mean, Enzo is still gonna be
Mm.
there. Enzo's fixture is insane. I mean, 19 Enzo or Rodgers for me 19. Obviously, you got
Yeah, I
Salah
mean
as well,
that
but
that the Ahmad like Rogers rotation is actually pretty solid if you
yeah,
think
it is
about
good.
it.
Yeah,
Do you know what my issue
Um,
is with the structure? My only negative is if you're sat, like I'm sat in 180k, right? And there's going to be a lot of managers above me that will move to that structure. How can I overtake anyone if I move to the same structure? I need to, take. I think if you're ever to take on a structure, it's probably the two budget midfield structure of right now.
I agree. Yeah,
But
but
how can you
it's
possibly?
tempting. It's tempting because of Ahmad. Like Ahmad is so tempting. I don't know what to say. So tempting.
He'll be
I
there.
have to resist. I have to resist.
Yo,
Once
the
it
Man
comes,
U fan is tempted, bro. It's not a
no, I'm
surprise.
gonna resist. I'm gonna resist because I've resisted everything till now, till date. I've resisted all of Manchester United's good fixtures. I resisted Mazraoui. I resisted Bruno. I know he hold, but I resisted all of this. I mean, I can still resist now. And you can't tell me, like, if I was to play devil's advocate, you can't tell me Bournemouth is an easy fixture on paper. It is not. Like,
Yeah,
we're gonna probably
it's not. Yeah,
struggle. The only easy fixture I see for the next 4 weeks, if we're being objective, is Wolves away. And the Wolves with new manager, we don't know what sort of things we could get there, right? Very unpredictable team, right? Look, if you want to get Ahmad, it's great entry point this week. But I do think Enzo is better because of the fact that he provides set pieces and other
yeah.
way of points.
Yeah, I think we're sort of along the same lines. The last question, sort of tied to the budget enablers, is going to be like, what's interesting about these guys is it allows you to get to that extra premium, whether that's a Trent Alexander-Arnold, given how good the fixtures are coming up, whether that is potentially an Erling Haaland in the next few weeks, or maybe even a Phil Foden or a Kevin De Bruyne, right? So what do you guys think about that? Like, if you had to put an extra premium in your team, would you prioritize a Haaland for captaincies like coming up, or would you prioritize like a Trent or like a Saka or something like that, or a Salah if you don't own it?
I'm sure everyone knows Salah, bro. Come on. If you don't have Salah, you have to prioritize him, right? So,
Yeah, of course. But like what I would say is this is funny. Number one in the world, transferred out Salah 2 weeks ago, brought in Son, and he captained Son this week. So I think
Wow.
he must have done it when the postponement was happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously moved Salah out, brought Son in, captain Son. But I'll be curious to see if he then transfers out Son after this week and brings Salah back in. So,
Mhm.
but it's just like, bro, how crazy is that? If he told you that before that Son Hall and then the Salah just assist blank in the red card, like that's crazy luck, right? For the game to be postponed and then Liverpool to get a red
Yeah.
card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
exactly. Because Salah could have held that game by the start. I was watching that game. If they had 11 man, Salah holds. It's
Yep.
crazy.
Yeah.
I heard it was very end to end. I didn't see
It
it.
was very intense, very much, yeah.
So like
Fulham really went for it.
that's how I see the Tottenham Liverpool game, and that's why for me Salah no brainer captain, bro, because it's going to be the exact same case but with 11 men.
Wait. Before we move on to the captaincy discussion, like if you had to put an additional premium into your team based on using these enablers, would you prefer to get to a Trent or would you prefer to get to a like a Holland, maybe instead of a
Haaland is
Saka?
not an option. Sorry, Haaland can't play
Yeah,
for this.
Haaland's impossible, bro.
So
Honestly, it's
you could
impossible.
say Isak or Jackson. You could say either Isak or Trent, basically. Or who would you prioritize?
Okay.
Isak
Okay.
or Jackson, one of those, or you
Mm.
Watkins, or do you get in the likes of, I mean, a Trent or a Guardiola or whatnot? I'd say there's an upside in an attacker compared to a defender, but Trent is an exception. From game week 18, for me, almost is a better pick than Isak. But this week specifically, if you're prioritizing, is Isak. However, from next week is Trent.
Nice.
We have to go based on this
Nice.
week, right? Come on, Kenji. Things changes in every
But
week, so
Stark, I know you disagree with that because like you have told me this multiple times, like you love Trent as an asset, but like you're not seeing enough attacking returns at the moment, and maybe the defense is going to be a little bit more shaky without Konate in there, right?
Yeah, it's also what drives me towards the City, like KDB/Foden. So Enzo's my fifth midfielder, and right now I've had Kulusevski, who's done brilliant for me. So I can move Kulu up to Foden or KDB, and I just think with the fixture run they have, who's going to score more points, or Trent and Ahmad, or Foden and Konate, or KDB and Konate, and I just think KDB and Konate because part of Trent's mega haul is clean sheet and attack in return, right? So if you have a Liverpool defender, you mitigate that upside because you have one element of Trent's haul, and then Ahmad versus KDB. Realistically, Foden or KDB should outscore Ahmad with the fixtures coming up. But that could not be the case. Ahmad could just continue to kill it, and then Trent fixtures, like, you know what I'm saying? But the upside to my move is that in game week 24, I can just bring in Trent and that budget, and then for the assistant manager chip, I've got 5 free transfers, and I can cook.
Yeah, I think when you're thinking about your assistant manager, you have to think about like if you're going to be using it in the 24-25 predicted double for Liverpool, it's like what about the other Liverpool picks, right? Because that means you can only go for 2. So that means you're going to go for a Salah. We also had a sighting of my favorite player. Oh my God. So okay, I love Trent, but there's another Liverpool player that genuinely we just need him because without Darwin in the number 9 spot, we're a much better team. Like we genuinely play much better. And Diogo Jota came back. He was clinical. He came off the bench. He had like 2 chances and he buried one. And like we're looking at Liverpool's fixtures coming up. They have the double game week as well. Is Jota a potential good differential to bring into your teams? What do you guys think?
He's not a
Yeah,
good.
he
He's the
has.
best differential, bro. Best differential in the midfield spot right now. But go on, stop.
No, he definitely has the potential to be for sure, but it's like him and Diaz, even Luis Diaz in a double game week fixture. You could think, yeah, but Jota's not gonna. Yeah, the minutes is just annoying. Do you go there? It's annoying.
The problem is Diaz playing striker. If Diaz was not playing striker, Jota has to start. Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those scenarios. Like, as Kanji said, as awful as it sounds, if either Jota or Diaz gets injured, sorry, if either Gakpo or Diaz gets injured, Jota is a lock, regardless if he's 100% fit or not. Because Darwin and Gakpo and Salah doesn't work like that. Like, you have to have Jota in there, especially in those games such as West Ham, which could be 50-50. Same with United, right? Forest. So because there's no injuries right now, that is the big punt you're taking. I do think I want to
Yeah.
see Jota versus Tottenham, and if he starts that game, I'm most likely going to punt on him versus Leicester at home because Leicester versus Newcastle should have considered 10 goals. It's insane how crap they are defensively.
Yeah, and this is the thing is this is another negative to the double budget midfielders, right? If you go for them, how do you get then Jota in, or how do you get back to Mbumo, or how do you go for Bowen if he continues to play striker and they pick up form, or how do you go to what's it, Bruno Fernandes if he continues to keep getting points because he keeps getting points and he's on pens, he's getting 90 minutes essentially every week, apart from the odd sub when he's tired. How do you get to these players if you or a Tottenham midfielder when their fixtures come good? Because Tottenham assets are slept on. Because when they win, they score a lot of goals. Madison, what's he top 5 point scorer in the game or something? Like Kulusevski ticking along. Son, like that's another thing. Forget Foden, KDB. Son's only what 0.4 million more. You could have a four
Madison is
premium.
there. Madison is there, so
Like
yes, I
there's
agree with that. That's the downside of you missed out on a whole bunch of assets in that range that I have a great track record of
But
every great season.
you don't need them.
all
Those
because
are like
Bro, I
those are
disagree.
like
What do you mean
differential
you don't
picks,
need them?
right?
And Bimo, you don't need them.
No, no, no. Like, I mean, if Ahmad and Enzo give me like 5 points a week, I'm chilling. Like, I mean, Ahmad's like getting me some points. Enzo's getting me 5 points every week, last 5 weeks. Like,
Bro,
I'm not
and Bimo
complaining
could get 15
if I don't
pointer
have
in any
Bruno or
game,
whatever.
bro. And Boomer could get 15 pointer in any game, bro.
this only works out if Trent does what his price tag is supposed to do. Because if Trent doesn't, then you are falling behind. Because those premium mids, like they are going to deliver.
Yeah, there's more certainty with them. That's like so if you're wall carding right now, for example, let's say you're on a wall card, would you punt on Trent or would you say no, just cover up the Liverpool defense with like an Allison or a Van Dijk or a Joe Gomez or a Konate, or would you go to the Trent and go for the budget
Absolutely.
mid?
On
Like,
Wildcard,
what do you think
absolutely
is
Trent.
safer?
Wildcard Trent, for me. Absolutely, bro. Because you want him for the double. I don't care what anyone says. You want him for the double. Like,
Double's
no matter.
24 though. Do you know what I mean?
So you have to have it in one wildcard. It's a book transfer. You don't want to do that. You don't want to book transfer like that. Because he's going to go up in price continuously, right? He's only 200% on right now. By game week 24, if he's not 40% on, then I would be shocked.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I was completely shocked. I saw a lot of FPL content creators bring him in. Us from FPL Wire brought him in, FPL Harry, I think, as well. Left Fuck FPL did it as well. So there's just a lot of people like bringing Trent in, and it's not a surprise. Like, I mean, like he has FPL pedigree, like he's shown it in the past, right? So with the fixtures coming up, like the Leicester entry point, it's incredible. And the double game is supposed to go into 24. And in 23 and in 25, it's Ipswich at home and Wolves at home. Like I think in those three fixtures, he could pick up like 25 points. And like he starts every game, unlike the Diego Jota and Luis Diaz, these guys, you don't know if they're gonna start, right?
Exactly.
Bro, I don't
Like
know, man. I don't know. That guy wants the Madrid move, bro. It's already locked in. Him and Jude Bellingham have already put a deposit down for a penthouse suite in Madrid. Like that guy's head's not in it, bro. I'm sorry, it's not in it.
Yeah,
that could be.
that's the one thing to mention. So like if we had like I think it's like slide 11 or slide 10. I think you're on it. It shows like the expected goals conceded relative to everybody in the league. So if you look at it, right, you see Liverpool and Arsenal are right at the top, right? So a lot if you're looking at the fixtures right now, Arsenal have Crystal Palace, they have Ipswich. They're gonna clean in one of those two, right? But then the fixtures afterwards, that's where like the Liverpool fixtures open up. So there is a potential really interesting move of maybe doing a Gabriel to a Van Dyke. Would you guys consider that or no?
No, hell no.
Gabriel's the best defender in the
What
game,
are
bro.
you talking about? Hell no.
Okay. Oh, it's just an idea, you know.
No, bro.
I
We'll
can't
see.
lie, bro. If Man City's defense was not complete bum cheeks, I'd have Guardiola ahead of Trent every day of the week.
I'm not gonna lie, I slightly agree with that.
If Guardiola was playing left back, like not left centre back, and they had Rodri, Guardiola would be a lock in everyone's team. Are you crazy?
I don't know how he keeps getting away with it, bro. Like their defense is horrific. They concede like 2, 3 goals a game. He still ends up with like 7 points. It's
Yo,
crazy.
can I ask you guys one question? One of my boy, I recommend him to get Allison, and he's really stressed out. Do you guys think Allison is a better defender than almost Trent if he doesn't pick up form for value for money? Because you got Van Dijk 6.4, you got Trent 7 million. Like, but Allison is the only cheap defender that you can get in that team because Gomez is not nailed once Konate is back, right? And Konate is
Yeah,
injury prone, so Allison might be the best defender to get like outside of Trent from Liverpool. So my boy is kind of bummed
yeah,
out about the move, but I said to him, no, bro. Like right now it looks bad, but from game week 17? In 18 onwards from Leicester, like I can see Allison get 8-9 pointers, bro.
yeah.
Leicester,
So
West
I
Ham,
also
United.
like I saw like the guy that's like first in my mini league, very similar scenario. Like I wildcarded his team in game week 5, and then he's like, "Bro, you're not gonna cash me. I'm like 200 points ahead of me." Like he's like 200 points ahead of me. He's like, "Bro, don't worry. Just help me and like try to get like a good finish." I'm like, okay. We went out to dinner. I'm like, listen, I think you need Liverpool defense coverage, and I recommended Allison too. Very similar to like the way that you're thinking. The
Yeah.
only thing that really comes into my mind is like, is a premium goalie worth it?
I don't think it
That's
is.
the only question I ask myself.
I don't
What do
For
you
think
the
it.
think, bro?
double though, for the double game week, it is worth it. Because
I
after
don't
the
think it is.
double, okay, after the double maybe it is not, but I think,
I
bro.
don't. I don't think it is. The reason why is because Fabianski's a 4 million starting goalkeeper, which is the kind of game breaking. Because everyone has a 4 million goalkeeper on their bench. We now have a 4 million goalkeeper. He just made 8 saves the last game, and they almost had the clean sheet. Secondly,
Yeah.
Henderson from Crystal Palace is 4.4 million, and their fixture run is about to go on till the late 30s until you use your second wild card. So like you could have, I think it's 8.5 million or 8.4 million from two goalkeepers, and the money you can invest in your actual attacking defense midfield. I think there's way more upside there.
I slightly. I mean, I had started the season with Henderson, and then I sold him, and then I went to Sanchez, who's horrible. Hasn't kept a clean sheet like God knows how long. He only kept one clean sheet in 10 game weeks. So I personally would like to push back on that idea that premium goalkeepers are not worth it because you can't trust any of the budget goalkeepers. Fair enough, Henderson's a good shot considering, but his fixture doesn't open up to game week 19, and we miss out on these last 3 or 4 game weeks, right? And if Liverpool had 11 man, it's a different story. Maybe Allison gets a 3 point instead of a 1 pointer, right? Because he would have got some saves for sure. And but in terms of like Allison, I think Allison is a better keeper than Raya. Like I think if we're just looking short term, okay, Raya has better fixtures, but from 19 onwards, 18 onwards, Allison for me is clear as a better like in terms of fixtures, double game week, he ticks all the boxes.
But why would you want an injury-prone goalkeeper? It makes no sense to me.
I would take my chances on a goalkeeper not getting injured over a Konate who's going to be in more physical battle than a goalkeeper, in my opinion. So
Mhm.
Hasn't Allison been injured twice this season already?
yeah, I guess yeah. But I see the upside, bro.
That's the downside. Like the way you look at it, like at least from my perspective, like if you like the way I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, at this point, without an injury to any Liverpool midfielders, I'm just getting rid of everybody except Salah, and I'm saying, okay, I'm putting Mo in. Everybody should just try to get to Mo, especially with the double game week coming up, right? So Mo's essential. Then I'm the biggest Trent fan of all time, so like Trent's coming into my team. So it's just about that third Liverpool player. Do I keep it open to make a simple move of Mbumo or an Eze to a Jota for the double game week, or do I just lock in a second defender? And given how good the defense is, I want to go for it. And so I really like that Allison pick, as long as he stays fit. He's also really good for baseline bonus whenever Liverpool keep clean sheets. He's going to end up with some bonus points. Again, he makes great saves. Like as soon as he came back into the team, he made 2 or 3 great saves against like Fulham.
You know what's interesting,
So
by
you
the way?
just know he's good, right?
He had 5 saves in the Champions League, by the way. He got bonus points in the Champions League for those saves. So in this next
Yeah.
fixtures, bro, Liverpool are gonna concede shots because they don't have Konate, right? So when they're playing the likes of, I don't know, West Ham and United, they're gonna concede shots. And who's gonna save them? Alisson. He's gonna save them, and then he's gonna pick up points, bro.
There's
My
no
prediction
doubt.
is
There's no doubt he'll pick up points. He plays for a great defense, but it's the same argument with Raya. It's like if you don't have these premium goalkeepers, right? There's no that you got to look at the upside and the downside. So the downside is what are you taking on? What are you losing out on? If you don't go Raya, if he gets a clean sheet, he's getting 6 points. You telling me these budget goalkeepers can't come up with a clean sheet every now and then?
so far they haven't. So far they haven't been. They have been really. They've all been shit.
There's
I'll be
there's
honest.
no upside in a goalkeeper.
I
Like there's
disagree,
so minimal, bro. What do you mean? How can you disagree?
I
There's
disagree
minimal
because
upside.
no, like there is upside if you pick a good keeper, bro. Like Pickford, for example. Look how many freaking clean sheets he kept recently. Like he's been really good. Like for those who kept him,
But
he's
that's
been
more
really
of a
solid.
budget goalkeeper though. That's more of
But
a
he's like
budget goal.
4.9. He's not even budget.
Yeah, but when people bought him
he's like
for
It
those,
was 5 million. He started with 5 million this season.
yeah, but and he was 4.8 when people bought him for those hauls.
But to
Yeah,
say
fair
there's no
point.
upside in goalkeeper at all is crazy. Like in my opinion, I think there is upside, huge upside in getting Alisson for maybe not for Tottenham. After Tottenham,
Huge,
Leicester or
huge upside
yeah.
in a goalkeeper is a crazy statement.
Yeah,
That
I'll
does.
tell you
It's
why.
not huge.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because of the double and their fixture run. That's my justification. I don't
That's
see.
not a
Okay,
Yeah.
huge upside.
that's of course a huge upside because you get to triple up
Not
on a
huge.
team.
Big,
Okay,
that's not the
okay, okay,
definition of
okay.
huge.
What are you saying then? What does the keeper has to do to have a huge upside? What does it to do?
Allison's going to be a walk-in 6/7 or 2 pointer.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you can't
But one of
say a
these games,
keeper
I wouldn't be
has
surprised
huge.
if he gets a 9. I wouldn't be surprised in one of these games if he gets a 9, especially if
But
they concede the
with
shots.
Mo Salah, the bonus point machine, and Trent at right back getting attacking returns, you think Allison's going to get 3 bonus points?
That's difficult. If Salah gets something, Salah's always going to get bonus points. But I think Alisson will be in the conversation for bonus points. If he's not 2 or 3, at least 1, he will get them at least. Because I think he's really good for BPS. But anyways, we're going to see. Because at the end of the day, everyone is going to want triple up on Liverpool come game week 24. We'll see what people chooses,
Yeah.
right? We'll see. Because
Yeah,
ultimately,
exactly.
people
So
are going to
like
go for
so
Konate
like
and Trent and Salah, right? Whereas you don't have to do that. You can still have a Robinson or a Muniz, and you have Trent, Gabriel, whoever else, and you have Alisson. They're already in place. Bro, I would have personally gone there myself if the entry point was there.
Alisson will do
yeah, it
well.
depends
19,
on
18,
it.
sorry. The entry point is 18.
Yeah, it depends on what you're sacrificing, but I just want to emphasize how good of a pick Konate is, right? It's much more difficult to get returns from defenders than it is from goalies, in my opinion. Because I think with goalies, you'll end up with some save points here and there. Like Henderson can be a really good value pick, like Stark mentioned it earlier. So that's why it's like, I think I'm sort of pushing away from the premium goalie idea. Like I currently have Raya, and I'm looking to sell him to just get some money to put it elsewhere. And so I think I just want to emphasize Konate is just really good value. You're buying into the best defender, or you're buying into the best defense. The only thing that really has me nervous about when Konate comes back from injury, one, does he get re-injured? Two, it's like, does the coach decide to take it easy on him and rotate him in and out of the team just to preserve him? Because we're going to be in the Champions League, we're going to be back in the Prem. That'll ruin Konate as an FPL pick. But with Connor Bradley back fit, with Tsimikas back fit, those would be the two guys that substitute with Trent and Robbo. And so I don't think he would sub off like a Konate to put like a Joe Gomez in for the last 20 minutes of a game, or vice versa. So I think if you go for a Konate, you just have to have, or a Joe Gomez, it's important to have a good like fourth bench defender if you decide to go for that sort of structure. And also, if you go for an Allison, I think it's important that you also go for Fabianski, or at least to be open to the idea of spending the transfer to get to a Fabianski, just because Allison can also pick up an injury at any point. Right? You just have to be aware of these
That's the
types of
only
things.
problem. That's the only problem is injury. That's the only thing. But otherwise, I think he's worth the money. Allison is.
It's just if you're gonna ever take on a position, it's the goalkeeper position, right?
I agree. Yeah.
Like it always has been for years. This is the first season where people even have premium goalkeepers in a lot, from what I can remember, for years.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree.
like, if you're gonna take on a position, it's the goalkeeper position, man. Like,
Yeah, but
Yeah. Well, I
anyways,
guess we're sort of agreeing towards a majority, like as usual, we sort of have a similar sort of thesis, which is like it's probably not the best play to spend the premium on the goalie, but it's a good differential if you want to go there, especially with the good fixtures, right?
the only reason
So I
why
think
the only reason why it's even a case is because people don't have Haaland, because no Haaland enables you to have the luxury of a premium goalkeeper.
exactly. Agreed.
yeah,
Agreed.
yeah. And
We've
then
got.
the downside with all of this, like spending the money in the defense, is that like, and the goalkeeper spot is like you see players like Brian and Bumo, they're returning every week, and you'll see somebody like Bruno Fernandez who's basically been returning every week, and Jackson, and same with Isak. So it's like the more money you spend in your defense, the less money you're getting in your attack. And with the attackers picking up all the bonus, there's a very large swing in terms of having a bad attacker versus a good one. So, for example, upgrading a João Pedro to somebody like a Nicholas Jackson could be massive in terms of the point swing you could get from that position, right? So, just things to really keep in mind. But I'm really big on Liverpool defense, and I just think it's hard to get defensive points. That's why I'm like happy
Yeah,
to be there
same
early.
because everyone's considering this
So
season, isn't it? So that's my point as well. Um, in regards to the eight Nori replacement, so what would you guys say this week is the best replacement for eight Nori? I guess other than Robinson is the most obvious one, of course. Do
I
you
think
want
the
to
two
in yours?
best.
Go Ivan.
I think the two best cheap attacking defenders is obvious. I think it's Munoz with the fixtures, and I think it's Robinson. I think this is another reason why I actually fancy my chances against two premium defenders. So I have Gabriel, but I feel like with this fixture run, you can't really go like, even if Trent does get a mega haul, the way Munoz is getting in, and Robinson with the fixtures they've got, I think they've got a 10 point or 15 pointer in them coming up. So it's like I'm more than happy to kind of cover it with a Canate or a Gomez, and just have Munoz and Robinson rotating.
I
I
don't
think
think
they
so because I think Fulham does concede dumb goals. I do. Obviously the fixture is there for Southampton this week, but Chelsea, Bournemouth, I can see them scoring. Ipswich can score as well. So I think Fulham, like he's definitely will get you a return here and there in terms of assist, but I don't think he's got the 15-point hole in him as such as like your Trent. I think. Yeah.
not to the same extent, no, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if in that run he gets one, because
Yeah,
he's
yeah, that's
got
true. That's true. Yeah, either Ipswich
they,
or Southampton, you could get one. Yeah, or Leicester.
yeah, like just one. And yeah, man, I think him and Munoz could have scored again last week. He scored an offside goal.
Munoz
yeah,
one, I agree with you. You know, I think Munoz is a better comparison because he's actually a goal threat. And when a defender gets a goal, bro, that's almost a locked bonus point, like two or three, especially for that Palace team, right? So I
hmm
think
They
Munoz
play
might be a better pick.
they play five at the back, and I just think five at the back is it's always more defensively sound. I really think Henderson's a good goalie. Like, he's got a few worldies in him to help keep a clean sheet. The three centre backs I rate, Trevor Chalobah and Guehi, I think they're both really solid. And then Lacroix, I thought he had a good game as well against Brighton. So
I'm
that
getting
they're just
Lewis in.
yeah.
I'm
yeah,
gonna
so
There
get
was
Lewis in
like
real soon.
there's one budget like defender you guys didn't mention, and he picked up a massive haul this week, and his name is Lewis Hall. He picked up 15 points playing for Newcastle. Their defensive data is actually pretty solid. I think they're like mid-table, and Lewis Hall sort of picking up that Trippier type of role where he's like overlapping in that the left winger, which is like Anthony Gordon usually, and putting crosses into the box. I think he's a really good differential, and he's so cheap, bro. I bought him at like 4.3 or something. Now he's like 4.5, 4.6. He's another one to consider in that price range, right?
No,
yeah.
not the entry point. You already missed the boat, in my opinion. You're only getting me for Ipswich now. The next three doesn't look good for clean sheets, and Botman is back as well,
Yeah,
so that has an impact on his somewhat on his minutes.
exactly. So like, so
Yeah,
Lewis Hall is like he's a rotation piece. He's not somebody you go and you say, I'm gonna play this guy every week. You need to include him with the rotation, and then he's a good player to consider. But the question is gonna be because Eddie Howe, the Newcastle coach, loves Dan Burn. So when Botman is back fit, he played with the U21s. He played like till halftime or something, and he was good. They subbed him off. He had no issues. So once he's back, and he's a class defender, by the way,
Yeah.
Botman, he'll make their defense better. So like when Burn, do you think the coach will try to push Dan Burn into left back, or do you think Lewis Hall's performances have been so good that he'll get the starts in the easy matches? Or like, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
This is the annoying thing about him. He's played so well this season, but Sven Botman, like, he helped them get Champions League football. Like, the guy is very good. And Dan Burn, he loves. But this is the thing. The reason why he loved Dan Burn was because he played as the third centre back and bombed forward. So with Trippier kind of almost out of favour, why would Hall? Why would he sacrifice Hall if there's no Trippier on the right hand side? But I don't know. These are the things, man. Like, it's just do you want that annoyance in your head when you own him? But I feel like if you've got like a 5-piece rotation, like where you're rotating 3 defenders, Lewis Hall, if Lewis Hall's nailed, he is like class as a pick because he's so attacking and they are a good team with no European fixtures. You know what I mean?
Agreed. I don't think he's an entry point now, though. I think you only get Ipswich unless you can rotate him. He's not a good entry point now. I'd rather have Robinson this week. But
Chewy FPL in the chat asked, would you still pick Munoz if you had Henderson?
yeah,
Yeah, so like that's where I'm high on double Liverpool defense. Like I really want that double Liverpool defense coverage. So if you go for Henderson as your chief enabler, I put Gomez in there, and then I keep like 0.2 or 0.3 in the bank, and when Konate is fit, I'd switch it back. That's what I would do
okay,
personally.
can I answer that question? I think if you have a Robinson or a Hall to rotate with Menus when they have tough fixtures. So I'll give you an example. So if you say, for example, you get Menus next week, right? Where they play Bournemouth away. Say you play Menus or you play Henderson and you can bench, I don't know, a Robinson or a Hall, someone like that. So if you can rotate Menus so they don't have to play double Palace defense in tougher fixtures, then I don't mind having double
Yeah.
Palace defense. But if you have to play them week in, week out, I slightly don't like that too much.
Yeah, like we're in this luxury of a position now where it's like we should have built some squad value up. Where it's like I think
Looking
you
at the
can afford a
fixtures
good
though,
rotation with Munoz.
but Kanji, looking at the fixtures from 19, you can really play double. Like you could actually play double Palace defense, other than Chelsea.
But do you like I've always noticed like whenever I've talked like more analytical managers, one of the best ways to increase risk without like making a worse team is to actually double up on a team's defense. And so like if you really believe in Crystal Palace defensive fixtures, you believe in the Crystal Palace defensive data, then go ahead. But I don't. I look at every other
Yeah,
defense relative to Arsenal and Liverpool, and I think they're like 40 or 50% worse than them. So I want if I can get access to Liverpool at 4.8 right now with Joe Gomez and then Konate, who just dropped to 5.1, I just have to risk it personally. That's the way that I feel
but
about it.
the only counter argument to that is that Munoz is not a centre back. He's really attacking, right? So
Yeah, he is like a right winger, bro.
exactly. So you're not
In the
really
Yeah,
box.
buying a defender. You're buying an attacker essentially, and you have a defender in place in Henderson. So I'm saying even if they concede, there could be still a potential for Munoz to get a return versus Southampton, whether a header or a goal or anything, right? So I do think it may be worth it because it's Munoz and because Palace has a good, historically speaking, defensive record. Yeah, I think I'll still go Munoz, bro. I don't care. I'll still go for it.
It
Yeah,
could be one of them ones as well where if you've got Fabianski, you just start Fabianski when
there
you
you go.
want to start.
Yeah,
Maybe, I don't
exactly.
know, like if you don't want to double up and you've got Fabianski and you don't, I don't know, just maybe fuck it. Fabianski 8 saves, give me
Yeah.
those 4 points. I
I
don't
would
know.
go Munoz, bro. Don't stress about it. To get Munoz from 19 for me, or even 18, up to you. No.
Yeah,
yeah.
Should we
I
move on
think
And
next?
too much weight is actually put on clean sheets to an extent. I think
mm,
because not many teams keep them. They're very few far in between. So like attacking returns is what you like. You want a defense full of attacking return potential because if they concede, you're getting 5. Because realistically, how many times are Palace gonna like? There's a difference between Palace and Wolves. How many times are Palace gonna get turned over 4-0? I
Only team
can't
is Chelsea. That's it. I don't think anyone else will do that to them.
So like with Wolves, you could be like, oh mate, if Wolves play any team, they could probably concede 4 goals. Whereas Palace, they're a bit more prideful and they're 5 at the back, better defenders. So like if they concede 2 goals, your defender, if he gets an attack in return, he could still get a 6 pointer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
mm. Yeah, I think we had a really good discussion on the defenders. Shout out to IBK who's in the chat. Shout out to Nick as well as Ricardo. We'll get to your question, IBK, in a second. And Nick, Konate is supposed to come back at the end of December, but just keep in mind that it is a knee injury. So I want to see him play 90 minutes, and then I'm going to bring him in. I'm not going to bring him in advance. I just want to make sure he doesn't re-aggravate it. So we'll see what happens there.
Can I just summarize it and then we can move on to the next slide, guys?
Of course,
Because
of
we're
course.
running a bit late. So essentially, if you don't have double Arsenal defense, you could definitely get them. There's still a good entry point from this week. And also, if you want to get Liverpool defender, ideally next week is entry point. But if you want to get this week, completely up to you. If you don't have other fires to put out, but you could wait one more week because they play Tottenham. And in terms of best budget defenders, I think you kind of missed the button, Hall. I don't think it's. I mean, you get Ipswich, but then you got Villa, United, Tottenham. I think they're considering all of them. So I think if you were to go for anyone this week in terms of budget, is Robinson, and then you got Robinson. Sorry, I'm saying Robertson, and then you got Munoz from 18. So do you guys agree with that, or?
I think Newcastle's fixtures are really good for a long time. It's part of the reason why I brought Isak in. So if Lewis Hall is nailed, like he just rotates well for a long, long time. You don't have to touch him.
Fair enough.
I'm trying to
rotate him. Okay, fair enough then. Yeah.
I'm trying. There's another defender. Sorry, with attacking potential, and this has now been 3 weeks, and even a week where he didn't get one, and it's Cucurella. By the way, just putting it out there.
There we go. Yep, there we go.
If you want a Chelsea, yeah, he did. But if you do want a Chelsea defender, who I think he's more nailed than Gusto, because Caicedo can invert from right back, and that puts Gusto in risk. And it's just like Cucurella is getting in advanced positions, like very advanced positions, and the fixtures are good for a long time. So it's one of them. If you don't want to go Trent and you want to like have like a Munoz, Robinson, Cucurella, Gabriel, like spread your bets, Cucurella is not the worst shot.
Okay. Last question. Do you guys still think Kirkers is a good option? Because a lot of people are actually already on him, or they maybe want to go to him from Bournemouth.
I don't trust Bournemouth defense. I would never have been there in the first place.
Okay, let's move on. All right, let's move on to our PFC. Go on, Kanji.
Wait. Before we go PFC, I do want to chat for 5 minutes on captaincy. Now, this week is interesting because
we'll do that on PFC. Just quickly though, we should talk about Cunha replacements just quickly.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead, bro. What do you think?
Chris Wood, bro, no brainer.
Oh wow!
You're going below, it's Chris Wood. It's a no-brainer. Yeah, if you're going below 7 million, right, or within that bracket, Chris Wood hands down doesn't make. No one comes close. However, if you're going above, you got Jackson and Isak. I don't see anyone else being an option. It's straightforward as that.
Yeah, you can go to Raul, you can go to JP, but they're not at the same level as these guys. So if you go to them, they become like a bench player that you're rotating. But if you go to Chris Wood or Jackson Isak, you're set longer term. You can play them every week.
So.
There's upside to Wood because people. This guy's laughing, bro. Oh my god, immature Kanji. You just made me lose track of my thought process, bro. Oh yeah, there's analytics managers, right, that will not get Chris Wood. They'll refuse to get Chris Wood because he's he takes 3 touches in a game and he doesn't have a high volume of shots. So people are like, oh, but Nottingham Forest attack's not great though, like statistically. Bro, Chris Wood is a Haaland light. He does not drop deep like Joao Pedro and Cunha. This guy stays in the box and just a fox in the box, old school striker, man. Like he's just going to continue to tick along. And the wingers are selfless. They look to feed him all the time. And he's on pens. Like, bro, Chris Wood is just definitely the best option for me.
Okay, one question, this personal question for me. If you were to prioritize one of these assets, Jackson, Isak, and Chris Wood, or if you were to bet against one of them, who would it be from this week onward or next week onward?
Jackson.
No brainer, bro. You know it deep down, man. You know it's Jackson. Like he was rotated for one of the games, bro.
It's Jackson because you've got Palmer and Enzo most likely in your team.
Yeah.
So why would you bet against another talisman from Newcastle, like from a complete different team? Like you've got Chelsea covered.
It basically comes down. It comes down to your belief in Chris Wood. That's straight up what it comes down to. Like if you value Chris Wood, you bet against Jackson. If you don't value Chris Wood, then you go Jackson plus Isak.
Considering Callum Wilson's out as well, like it's a no-brainer in my opinion.
Yeah, it is what it is. I made my bed with him. I gotta lie on it. I'll just pack against Isak. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like if
captaincy
you
is in
feel
a
the
tough in it.
pressure, like you have a few weeks to like go against Isak now. Like because he has Ipswich, then he has like Man United, Spurs, Aston Villa. Like those are actually pretty solid fixtures, though. I can't lie.
Hey,
No,
relax, relax. United, we're the biggest
Isak,
club in the world.
Isak versus Spurs. I might have to captain him, bro. I'm not even gonna.
Bro, honestly, he's an option for me. I made my captaincy list, and he's like second or third.
Bro.
So I do, yeah. So this week I'm in a very interesting position. I wanted to ask you guys about this 50-50. It's been like it's boiling my blood. I don't know what the right move is. So I did do Brendan Johnson down to Ahmad. So I now have Enzo and Ahmad in my midfield. They're rotating. So I have enough money in the bank. I only have one transfer though, so I have no transfers left. I have enough money in the bank to sell Son, to bring in Mo Salah and reunite with the Egyptian king after 10 weeks without him. And so, do you think it's worth selling Son, who's at home,
Yes,
who's playing against Liverpool, for
yes,
a -4 to bring Salah in?
yes.
What
Bring
do you
Salah
guys
in. I
think?
said, yes, it's no brainer. Yes, triple yes for me.
Damn.
Just bring that bastard in already. I'm sick and tired of him. I'm gonna captain him every week from now on.
Yo, Tottenham have got United on Thursday in the cup, and I think Tottenham, they haven't won much recently. Ange is under pressure. If he wins a trophy, it's so important for Tottenham. Like it could almost kickstart and change the mentality. Just that. So I remember when Mourinho first came to Chelsea, and he won that Carabao Cup. Look at Pep Guardiola for Man City. Consistently was winning that cup. It can spark like progress and a winning mentality. So Spurs need that cup bad, so I think they'll go for it. And if Son plays 90 minutes, it's away at Anfield. Both first choice centre backs are out. Udogi came off injured.
It's Spurs are at home.
Spurs are at home.
Yeah.
Oh, Spurs. Salah's going to haul. Oh,
Spurs are gonna go for it. Salah's gonna
Yo,
haul.
whether or not Salah is at home, you guys just think he's gonna haul. Hey,
Bro's
that's
gonna
how
haul,
it is,
bro.
bro.
It's done,
no,
bro.
but
Yeah.
Spurs are way more likely to go for it in the first half at home. It's
They'll
Ange
go for it, bro.
Postecoglou, man.
And like yo, the thing is, Spurs are like the Robin Hood of the Premier League. Like that's the thing is like they take points away from the good teams. Like if Liverpool were to drop points on this run, I always felt like it was gonna be Fulham or Spurs, or they were gonna drop points.
Yeah,
But
but it'll be high
let me
scoring
just
though.
like give you a little. Let me give you a little like 30-second speech on this, right? So Son is at home. He's picked up at least one return in 7 of the last 10 games against Liverpool, and Konate is not there to protect Trent. So it's basically Son versus Trent on a counter attack. Son is going to destroy him. I've seen it so many times. But you counteract that with Son is going to be the you counteract this with Salah is going to be the most captain player in the game for good reason. He picked up 5 returns in 4 games versus Liverpool, and he also had that assist to Diaz last time, which didn't count because it was offside. If you remember the whole VAR issue that happened, right? So it's weird. And then if you factor in captaincy, right? It's like I need because I'm pretty confident Son's returning at home. And it's like I need Salah to at least outscore Isak as my captain, or I need him to outscore like Son for a -4. Like, do you think he can do that this week, or should I just wait till next week? Because next week it's obvious. Like Leicester, obviously I'm bringing Salah in, I'm captaining him. That's obvious, bro. But I don't know, man.
Ah, man, I don't know. Just the injuries they've got. I just think currently, like, what was the score between Arsenal and Tottenham? Did Tottenham win?
I think I
No,
think it was like
Arsenal
one
won 1-0.
nothing Arsenal. I think
Arsenal
yeah,
won.
Gabriel header, right?
Yeah.
Arsenal won. We Chelsea smacked them about. Like Man City
Yeah,
right
Chelsea
now.
Spurs is more of a fair comparison to Liverpool Spurs because Arsenal attack, no offense, but they're not in the same league as Chelsea at this moment.
So like another Man City Tottenham. Historically, Tottenham have their number because City's weaknesses are literally Tottenham's strengths, and that's been amplified with no Rodri. So like it was so obvious Tottenham like Son was going to do well versus them, but Liverpool is just a different kettle of fish. I think I don't see
Um,
beating Liverpool. I really don't see it. I could be so wrong though, but a Thursday fixture in the cup versus United, like they've played Thursday, Sunday, Kanji for like 3 weeks straight. Like their squad, and they've got so many injuries. Their squad is so depleted.
And it's the same reason I couldn't captain Son last week, even though he played Southampton. It's because of like the X minutes dealt. Like he picked up the massive haul. He picked up what 1 assist and 2 goals, but he was subbed off at halftime. So annoying, bro. And like, what if
-4
Liverpool
is
are up like
difficult,
two
but
nothing, right?
-4 is difficult. But
What?
if you're gonna captain Salah, yeah, it's worth it, bro.
Yeah, I think that's
So,
what I'm leaning towards right now. So I
bro,
just wanted to bring that up. Like I
bro,
think you
if
just need
it's anyone,
Salah
you
in the
take a minus
future.
four is for Salah, bro. Kanji, I'm sorry. I'll tell you. You can blame me if he blanks. Salah, fuck it.
Yeah, so I was looking at like the FPL like website, and like the points difference is crazy. Salah's like 150 and
Yeah.
Son is like 75. I'm like, how is the disparity this big? Like I cannot believe it. Salah is crazy this year.
Kanji, what's your score prediction in that game?
I was thinking like a 3-2. So that's
Listen,
why I don't know what to do.
FPL is about playing out your predictions. So if you think it's going to be 3-2 and you believe Son is going to get an attacking return, then you probably are better off just captaining Isak and keeping Son for 1 week. But I would bring in Salah and captain him. That's me.
Yeah. I know,
Going
but
to the captaincy
I've
next
gone
week
against
as
your
well.
guys' advice, and like it's never worked out for me. So
No. No, you blame me. Blame me if Salah blanks. Get Salah in for minus four. I don't care. And Isak is going to be captain versus Ipswich away, and I'll tell you why. Ipswich at home are quite a decent team. Like he will get one maybe return, but I don't see him getting 3-4 returns, bro. But like listen,
yeah, I've
Newcastle.
honestly, I feel like the minutes in the cup will really dictate my decision. So
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes. It's such a tight decision.
yeah,
So I'm
Bro,
kind of hoping Salah is just rested and makes my decision easy.
yeah.
a full week's rest, man. They've got Southampton. There's no way Salah starts that game, right?
Yeah,
Chiesa's back.
exactly, bro.
Isn't Chiesa back?
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, he's back in training. Yeah.
Surely that's the perfect game for him to like show Slot what he can do, right?
Yeah, so sorry to take up like 10 minutes of the whole pod
No
there. It
worries,
was
no
just a
worries,
really
no worries.
interesting discussion point. So moving on to honestly the best part of the podcast, we have the PFC section. It was a very good game week for all of us. I think we all did pretty well. Everyone picked up 2 points, but of course, Kanji, I'm coming back into the picture. I picked up 3 points. I'm climbing back. I think we have the overall score, hopefully, on the next slide. And it's looking pretty tight. We have K-Man at the bottom. He's just slacking behind, bro. You got to pick up your stocks, man. You got Stark who's pulling away, but I'm coming close. I'm right there. You got to look in the rear view mirror. Like objects are closer than they appear, you know?
Can I just give a quick shout out? I did back my boy Enzo Fernandez, and for the first time, the guy that I owned and I punted on him has actually returned. So I'm so glad that happened. And yeah, ultimately we did really good job with our punts. Like you had Gordon, you had Kulisevsky. So I think the punts that we did were really good this week. Same with Phil, of
Yeah,
course.
it was my punt was Sun, by the way. It's
Oh,
just
sorry,
Gordon, the
apologies,
graphic.
Son. Sorry, yeah, Son.
Yeah, don't
All
worry,
right.
bro. Don't worry.
So for next week, I've got Timber, Guardiola's flop, and Salah as a captain. Timber, Arsenal, I think they keep clean sheet versus Palace. To be honest.
That's bro.
Damn, away from home, you're punting on Timber.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
crazy.
Yep. Because he's
Wow.
the ownership. That's the only
That's
reason why. His ownership is lower than 10%. So I said, yeah, why not?
damn. I
I
mean,
back
that's
Arsenal
fair.
defense. So
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And Timber is not just like a defender; like he has the open play threat too.
yep.
Brave.
Facts, bro. Yeah, I rate that, bro. It's risky. And I don't know. Am I like the only guy that likes Spurs and all of the content creators? Like nobody has Son. It's literally just me. Anyway, but my punt is gonna be Son. He's gonna be scoring at home. I just need him to like start the game. I think I'll be fine. My flop is
Bro.
Pedro Porro because he is a fraud. I've never liked him in FPL, and Spurs are gonna concede 2 or 3 goals easily. The only way he returns is if he gets an assist. And Salah is the obvious captain this week. If you own him, you captain him, and you just enjoy the game.
Yeah. Jota punt, 2% owned, I think he is. If he gets the start, this is a risky one because he might not start. So, but I think if he does get the start, I think 11 pointer, 13 pointer inbound for Jota. Rogers flop, Villa versus City. Like Rogers is just like much of a muchness. I believe the saying is like he looks good, but you know I'm backing him to flop. Salah captaincy, yeah, that game's going to be electric. I'm really
Who
looking
is
forward.
Rogers? Who is Rogers playing?
Man City.
Oh man, Man City defense has been pretty good recently, man.
Yeah, man, you're punting on Son against Liverpool, bro. So
Yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, bro. Shall we
So
move on to the
we
next
all agree
section?
on Salah as captain, right? No any other outside shouts?
Oh
Palmer
yeah,
outside shout? Or no?
yeah,
bro, Tottenham is the most open game in the league.
Okay. Okay, this week is clear, boys. Just back the king, bro. There's no point in
yeah.
differential. I'll
If
just
you have
say
Mo
good
captaining,
shout out to Saka and Palmer. Obviously, if you want to be differential, of course, can't go wrong with them. Moving on to
bro,
Kanji's
there's
Game Week
nobody.
16 review.
There's brother. There's nobody in the right mind that's captaining soccer this week. After seeing them the last couple weeks, bro, there's
That's
no
true.
way.
That's true. Except Arsenal
Like
fans.
captainers are like burnt, bro. Those guys.
Who are they playing?
Palace away.
Palace away.
I'm captain of Saka now because you said that.
Bro, there's no way I would like you just can't, bro. Their open play threat is terrible. Anyway, so looking at my team from last week, I did go with double Arsenal defense. They returned. Gabriel came back from his. I'm telling you, it was a concussion. The guy did not have a hamstring injury. Arteta's a fraud. He picked up the 6-pointer. Yo, Gabriel's one of those guys. He fights for the badge, bro. Like as soon as he came back into the team, he was fighting. He had like 2 or 3 blocks. There was one where there was a Odegaard was defending, and then the defender went by Odegaard. Gabriel came in and blocked the shot. I was like, bro, Gabriel's a warrior, man. So really happy that he's back in the 11. So more confident Arsenal to keep cleans. Double defense is my root plus Saka. Happy to lock those in. Trent, oh man, at one pointer, it is what it is. Gomez is the one that hurts the most because I had the biggest 50-50 between Gomez and Lewis Hall. I posted it on Twitter, had almost 150 votes. It was basically 49% for Gomez, 51% for Hall. And I played the Liverpool player because that's my team, and I got burnt. But it is what it is. Like, you just have to hope that. You know what? I think that's actually like a skill error because Hall was playing Leicester. But I was thinking about it like Pope was not fit, so maybe there's a chance they'll more likely to concede. It is what it is, though. I'll live with that. Like I can't really blame myself for that. And Saka is there. Palmer had the captaincy because I don't have Salah. And then Son came in as my differential. But I had Brennan Johnson coming off the bench. I mentioned earlier that Son ended up getting the halftime sub. So Johnson came off the bench at halftime, and then he picked up a yellow card, and then he didn't do anything else. Like Spurs literally did nothing in the second half without Son, which is surprising. So that exact thing of Johnson not being nailed, you don't know who's going to start between Johnson and Madison, and Kulusevski seems more nailed than them, is why I'm selling Johnson. If Johnson was more nailed in the 11, I never would have sold him. I would have found another way to fund Salah. But he's gone. Pedro is there. Cunha delivered. As soon as he picks up the goal, he's going to be picking up the bonus. That's what makes him so good in the game. Bro, he's like top 5 for strikers. I cannot believe it. A Wolves striker is top 5 in FPL points. What the heck? And then Isak, the man is so consistent. I absolutely love this guy. If you don't have him, I would literally use a transfer to switch Jackson to Isak. That's just how I am. I love Isak long term, like 90 minutes penalties. Wilson's out. Like he's just a really good pick long term. So I'm happy with that. Of course, the guys on my bench return. Enzo, bro, I'm telling you, my bench averages 9 points a week. It's crazy. But another green arrow. This is my second consecutive green arrow. It's been a tough season, but we're coming back, boys. So happy with game week 16. Moving on to game week 17, it's looking pretty solid once again. This time, I'm not making the same mistake. I'm benching Joe Gomez. Lewis Hall comes into the 11. And apart from that, it's just about captaincy. Right now, I think it's on like Palmer or Isak, one of them. But if I'm -4 and I put Salah in for Son, he's my captain. If not, and I stick with this team, Isak will be my captain. Maybe if someone convinces me before the deadline, I'll be on Palmer. But I'm thinking Isak for now. So that's the way that my team looks.
Kanji.
Yeah.
And there'll be a lot of managers in your position. 2 million rank, good FPL manager, make poor decision making mixed with poor luck. So combined, it puts you in that rank where you're better than that rank. What are your expectations? Moving forward, like what is your goal? Like what would you class as a good finish based on your rank currently?
Bro, I'm top 100K. Like the goal doesn't change. The goalpost doesn't move. It's just unfortunate the way the season's unraveled. Like going for Sun instead of Salah has costed me like basically 100 points. But the goalpost doesn't move regardless. And I know it's going to be even more difficult. But I got to try my best. I have all my chips left. Maybe I'll just take some differentials. I'm sure people that have owned Holland for too long will be in a very similar position to me as well. So yeah, I just the goalposts are moving. Top 100K has always been the goal, always will be the goal. I'm way behind schedule. I want it to be 1 million by like game week 10, but I'm not there at all. Like I'm just at 2 million now. So hopefully we can climb, get to maybe 1.5 million by Christmas, maybe. So 1 week at a time, but top 100K.
Have you thought about maybe moving Saka to Salah and keeping Son?
I haven't. The reason I haven't, I don't plan on doing that is because like I still believe Arsenal will try to win the league, and I think Arsenal's priority will be in the Prem, whereas Spurs' priority will be in the other cup. That's where they'll try to like win a trophy, I think.
Can't you go Saka to Salah and then Cunha to Havertz?
I could do that, bro. Like I didn't think of that to be honest, but I just look at Saka like he's an end game player, bro. It's hard to go against him. I know he's blanked recently, but he's that guy for them. I
What
don't trust
about
Havertz.
but what about the fact that when Spurs win, it's emphatic, whereas Arsenal are like just like the 2-0, two corner merchants at the moment.
Yeah, so if I do that, I think I will spend my transfers flipping between Son and Saka. If I have luxury moves, I would do that.
All right,
But
but
I
it's just
can't sell Saka, bro.
it's
I'm a big fanboy. I
no,
can't.
I
Like
get it,
if
I get,
if
I get.
Son's minutes were better, I would consider this, but they're not. Like he got
Okay,
subbed off at halftime for a reason, bro.
yeah, no, fair enough. It's just that obviously you know yourself, your goal was a top 100K. There is kind of a template. So like those managers within that top 100K rank, they're probably in the template, and it is going to be difficult to catch them because it's an element of you have to do really well and they have to do kind of really bad to an extent for an
Yeah,
extended period. So you have to
yeah.
think outside the box and jump on the new wave ahead of the curve. So it's just like I'm curious to like because Son is a differential, so it was just interesting to see if he was in your plans though,
Nah.
because you
Like
do have to find.
some picks are worth going different. Some picks are not, and I just can't go against Salah, Saka, Palmer. Like I just they're so obvious. They're like Trent, for example, is a great differential. Like Wood would be a good differential, hopefully. Maybe Isak is bro. 1 in 3 managers owns Isak. Like this team is not like completely template. So like there are some picks to be different, and Trent will be the number one guy for me.
Yeah, the chip. There's a lot of chip. You've I think you've got all your chips. Secondly, uh, captaincy is important as well. So yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot like sometimes you'll look to be different and then you'll make your team different and then the season gets worse, you know? So let's see how it goes.
Moving on to Stock's team for game 16.
Sorry, one
Yes,
second.
he had like 6, 7 points.
Yeah, good week. Nice green arrow. Kulusevski captain.
Yeah, that's
Yo,
insane by the way. Yeah.
I want to shout out Ivor in the YouTube comments saying that what did he say again? Let me go find it. He said, so creative with your captain picks, winky face. Yeah, Ivor, what about that for a creative captain pick, my bro? Kulusevski. I've got
Exactly.
balls of steel.
Exactly, bro. Big shout out to Stock, bro.
Facts,
Like,
bro.
listen,
Yo, big
that,
respect for
that's
that, man. Big
yeah.
respect.
I'm glad he worked out highest immunity. I was got Salah, Palmer, Saka. That's insane, bro.
2%
He's
owned.
him.
Look at the ownership, bro.
Bro,
Kulusevski.
this is what we talk about, playing it your way. Like it genuinely is. Like you mentioned this, Brown mentioned this. You guys are the Chelsea fans. You're like, hey, we're not sure how much confidence we have in this Chelsea Brentford game. And like you went along with the logic. You backed Kulusevski. He was rested in midweek. The factors were perfect for you, and it worked out well. So I'm happy.
Yeah, man. I was
Great week.
I I knee slid. I did a knee slide in this room when he scored that goal, bro. It was very lucky. Like I have to admit, like it just fell to him, open goal. I was like, yes, come on. Honestly, I couldn't believe it, but I was gutted at the same time that he couldn't get another return.
Yeah,
But yeah, we'll
penalty.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Man.
go to game week 17. Um, Chris Wood's in for Cunha. I'm finally owning Chris Wood. I can't wait for 2 touches a game, 3 goals. Like I will be there, bro. Honestly.
Yeah, when Chris Wood blanks, we'll know who broke him, bro.
Bro, at this point, I've got money in the bank. Foden slash KDB from Kulusevski, or I just like I'm so close to like just having the optimal team and then rolling for like 5 weeks because I can just do Kulu. I could just do Gomez to Trent right now if I wanted to, and I don't really have to make any.
Mm.
And then I just rotate Kulusevski. But I don't think Spurs' fixtures are great until 21. So, and I love City's fixtures. So the question for me is Kulu to Foden and Raya to Henderson, or I do Kulu to Kulu to KDB, JP to Stewart, and then I can upgrade Davis to Munoz. and I really like that. I like those moves a lot.
The Foden punt is very tempting. You won't be the only one considering that guy.
I
And
mean, I think you
all it's
show
been,
Kulusevski. I think you keep Kulu.
yeah,
Mm.
man.
I don't think Foden outscores Kulu in the next five. If I'm taking a chunk of fixtures, uh, Foden hasn't looked himself this season. I mean, he historically speaking, they have a good record versus United, and they had nothing to offer versus us. I understand the
I
fixture
mean, to be
depends.
fair, Foden was better than Holland in that game.
He had
Yeah,
4 shots, and I thought he looked like he was back to his twinkle toes. You know when you watch Foden and he's just like dancing and around, getting shot. Like I thought it was a promising first game back for him because he will be lacking a little bit of match sharpness. So
Sharpness, yeah.
I feel like he can improve from that fixture. I'm going to give him the Villa fixture, and obviously that will make my decision. After that fixture, like
yeah,
if he doesn't buck his ideas up, it'll probably be just Joe Gomez to Trent.
yeah, yeah. You got some time to make a decision, but team looks good to be fair. Moving on to my team, Gameweek 16, I had a very good week. I mean, I did a -4. I bought in Raya for Sanchez, which worked out. Sanchez, I think, lost his clean sheet towards the end, and Raya got 6 points, so that move worked out. I also brought
Wait, so
in
you brought Rhea and Enzo in and they both returned?
both returned.
Damn,
Yeah,
bro.
those very good
You're
transfers.
him, bro.
So yeah, the transfers actually worked out in my favor. However, the benching decision was between Mbima and Jao Pedro. I got that one wrong, but you can't get all the decision right, so it's all right. Ultimately, I was like 34k, half my rank to 17k, so with 70 points. So really good week. The obviously superstar of the week obviously is Lewis Hall, 15 points or 2 assists. I mean, I almost lost faith in him, to be fair, after they considered so many goals, but obviously finally rewarded. Happy with that. Going into game week 17, though, I haven't made any moves. Currently, my boss team is as it is, but potentially I may do Cunha to Chris Wood if he's suspended because he did have I guess, an altercation with an Ipswich assistant manager or one of their staff, and I think he pulled one of their glasses off as well as I think he punched him or something. Not sure exactly. So there is a ban coming. Whether he will get the Leicester game or not, we're not sure yet. If he does, I'm going to keep him, and then maybe get Chris Wood in next week. One question I have for you guys this week again, same as last week. This week the dilemma is between Jao Pedro and Enzo. Who would you stop?
JP.
JP.
But yeah,
Start the left back. Start the left back.
basically, yeah. But I'll see. That'll come to the deadline decision. So that's it, boys. Wrap it up.
Yeah, are there any questions in the chat that we missed? You guys will be able
Yeah,
to read it.
yeah, you can. So
Yeah.
I'll go for it.
Someone said JP to Wood a good pick.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I think it depends on team structure.
Yep.
There's more to it than a simple than just the JP to Wood. Like, bro, I don't know.
I think if my team was structured really well and I had a luxury transfer, I would do JP2. It is a luxury transfer though, because the next two is good for Jao Pedro. West Ham and Brentford are really good fixtures. But if I had luxury move, I would do that move.
Yo, my bro was in the chat. He dropped a question. Raya versus Saliba, who gets more points till the end of the season?
I guess Saliba because they're a set piece threat.
Yeah, Saliba gets more points for sure. Look how good they are at corners, man.
Yeah, but you thing is, bro, it's like Raya gets the saves, he gets the bonus, you know?
Oh, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Yo, Jackson, hold or sell. If you don't own
Absolutely
Isak,
hold.
if you don't own Isak, I'd rather, and you have the luxury to go Jackson to Isak without taking a hit, I think it is potentially worth it, especially if you own Palmer or Enzo, because hedge your bet, you're literally getting a talisman from a different team without. There's no European football. Callum Walker's injured. He's on pens, 90 minutes. He's their talisman. Whereas Jackson, as great as he is, if anything, I'd want Jackson and Isak. But if it was between Jackson and Isak, it's Isak for me.
Sorry, boys. That's why. Sorry, boys. I can't do. It's been a while. I think we've been live for a minute. I have to cut it off.
Yeah, it's been a while, yeah. 100%, bro.
Yeah.
Yo, I think we discussed a lot of points, bro. This is another really good pod. Like, I like how we, like, went from where we started, where, like, we were going through all the games and everything, and now it's just much more free flow, like, the discussion is so much better. I love
Yeah.
that.
Guys, make sure to smash the like button. Make sure to subscribe, comment, and obviously show us the love. Obviously, we're starting out. You know, I would appreciate all the support. Make sure to share and like and comment and everything. So thank you so much for the support.
100%, bro. Yeah, I love the pod this week, boys, and thank you so much to everyone in the chat, bro. Like, we read, like, every single comment, and so appreciate all the love and all the support. We'll chat sometime soon.
Yep. Thank you guys and peace out.